Are you looking for ways to make sure that your website turns up when people use the internet to search for your product or service? Well, I got good news for you. In this video, I'm going to give you 7 little known secrets of how to increase your chances. G'day, Ben Futrell here, co-founder of Maximize Profit, and we're all about helping you build the business that you imagined. Now, if you imagined having a business that turned up earlier in search results, or you got more customers through your website because people were able to find you easier, then this video is definitely for you. Now, one of the things I've noticed over the last 20 odd years in business is that the whole landscape has changed when it's come to marketing. People are no longer using things like the yellow pages. They're using the internet to search for businesses and to buy products and services. And if you haven't known about this, well, you've probably been living under a rock. But the reason that you're watching this video is you're obviously very well aware that you need to improve what's called SEO, and that is search engine optimization of your website. Now, there are some very simple things that you can do, and there's some pretty critical mistakes that people are making that are easy to fix. And in this video, I'm going to cover off 7 of what I think are little known but very effective secrets of making sure that your website ranks better when somebody searches the internet for what it is that you do. All right, tip number 1 is to get a starting point, or to try and get some sort of a report of how your website is currently performing. Now, this is less complicated than you think. There's lots of free website grading type tools where you can put the website address into the tool online. It will quickly look over your website and tell you if there are any major issues. Something a lot of people don't realize is it can be simple things like how quickly your website loads. It could be the security of your website, or it could be broken links that are preventing the search engines from optimizing your website in search results, because those kind of things give users a bad experience. And so the search engines don't want to prioritize your website for some of these simple things. Now, where can you go to get this done? There's a free tool that's provided by HubSpot that's really good. It's website.grader.com. You just put in the website address of your website and your email address, and it will do a quick scan across your website and tell you if there's any major issues, and will also tell you what to do to fix them. So that's a great tool. So website.grader.com. All right, my second tip for you is to do a little bit of keyword research. Now, that sounds a little bit jargony, but what we need to know is what are people actually typing into these search engines when they look for your product or service. Now, I'm not talking about the really obvious ones, which are the big words to go for. I'm talking about the longer type phrases people might be typing in. They might be typing in how to fix something, or they might be looking for a product review or a service review. They may be not sure what to do if they've got something wrong. And there's all these different search terms that people are typing into the internet, and you need to try and discover what it is that your customers are looking for. Now, you can definitely start off by picking some of the most obvious ones, but to help you out, there's once again lots of free tools. And in fact, Google has a free tool that you can use if you've got a Google AdWords account. And there are other tools as well. Keywords.io is another free tool that you can use. But if you just type in Keyword Explorer into any search engine, you'll get several tools available to you to be able to use. Some of them will require a payment for more advanced results, but you can definitely start by using the free tools to give you some ideas. Now, the other thing that works really well is the suggested search terms that Google gives you when you start to type a search term into the little Google search box. Sometimes that can be really helpful to help you understand what it is that people are looking for. All right, tip number 3, once you know a little bit about the keywords or the things that people are searching for when they're looking for your product or service, is to start including those keywords and phrases on your website. In particular, you want to use them for page titles and what's called meta tags. Now, if you've got a login to the back end of your website, you'll most probably have access to be able to update the page title and also what's called the meta tags, or the description, the page description. Now, both of these things are used for Google to decide, or any of these search engines to decide, what your page is about, along with a few other things, but this is the starting point. And so you want to make sure that your title actually reflects what the page is about. Quite often what I see is people will have their company name like a dash or separator with the word home or services or products, and that doesn't tell a search engine very much at all. What you want to do is you want to make sure that the words in that title are more aligned with the keywords of what people are typing in. So if you've got products, instead of just having the word products, have the keyword that goes with the product. So for example, let's say I have an online store that sells car detailing detailing equipment, I might change the word products in that title to car detailing products, or I might have car detailing products Sydney if I want to make sure that people that are looking for products in my area actually are putting those keywords in, that my page will come up. Or I could put car cleaning products online. Okay, so just think about the keywords that people might be typing in, and you've got to make sure, of course, that the title makes sense. It's no good putting something in there that doesn't make sense, but definitely update those titles. Remove things like About Us, because everyone's website's got About Us, and if that's what your title is for that page, how is the search engine ever going to know exactly what to show that page for, what search term? So instead of About Us, you might put something, why choose us for your car detailing products, as your title. Okay, so just think about what it is that's going to help a search engine decide when to show your pages. So get in there and update your titles and your meta tag descriptions on your web pages. All right, now that leads to my fourth tip, and this is something that is going to help you as well, and that is to make sure that you're using some of those keywords that you've discovered in the URLs. Now, a URL is simply the address that people type into the search bar when they're going to a page. Now, for example, if you've got I'll keep on the car detailing path. If you are selling car detailing products, then you could have your company name or your web address .com whatever /car detailing as a URL. If you can have the word car detailing in your homepage URL, that's even helpful as well. So all of these things help search engines understand what it is that your business is all about, or what your website is all about. And so when somebody looks for what it is that you do, you're more likely to turn up in search results. So just have a look at some of the URLs that you are using. It might be for blog articles, product descriptions. I've seen product descriptions where they're the actual, like the SKU code for the product. So the SKU code, which is like an item number. Well, that means nothing to the internet. What you want to do is you want to replace that with a description of the product, and then it's more likely to turn up in search results. All right, my fifth tip for you is to use a thing called anchor text. Now, don't worry, I'm going to explain exactly what this is. Have you ever been on a web page where some of the text is highlighted in a light blue color and it is clickable and it clicks through to another page, another page on that website, or an external page? Okay, that is called a link. And the text that is highlighted is called anchor text. Now, what that does is it tells the search engines that that particular text is a little bit more important or a little bit special because it's linking to something else. So, for example, let's say you do have a online car detailing product store. You might have a link inside of a product that links to a YouTube video of you demonstrating how that product is used. For example, you might have the words click here is quite commonly seen. Well, the words click here doesn't mean anything to the search engine except click here. What you're better off to do is to put click here and then continue that anchor text to watch a video on using the XYZ car detailing product. So, it's very clear as to what that is all about. And once again, these would be things that are important keywords for you that you want to rank for with your website. You want to make sure that those things link to other pages. Now, if you have other products that may be a good product, or you might have articles on your website that are helpful articles around that product that you're using, once again, you can link to those, but make sure that when you create the link that you use keywords in the link. Don't just use the words click here. Try and use keywords. For example, you might use the word car detailing and you might make that a link through to a full guide on how to do car detailing on your car detailing online store, for example. So always try and use anchor text rather than the term click here if you want to make sure that search engines know what that link is for. All right, tip number 6, and this is a biggie, and it's a hard one to really wrap our heads around, and it's good quality content. Now, one of the things that a lot of people have tried to do is work out how to create the most effective content on their website with the least amount of effort. And what this has led to is some really poor quality content on people's websites, particularly with blog posts that were written cheaply. They've outsourced it somewhere and they've said, just write me some 300-word articles, and they've just whacked them up on their website. Even I've seen websites where product descriptions are really short, or there's web pages with very little information about the product or service that is on offer. Make sure that your content is really nicely written. Make sure you've got subheadings so it's easy for the reader to be able to read through the page. The easier it is for the person visiting your website to consume the content, the more likely it's going to be able to be crawled effectively by the robots that the search engines send out. They do have some sort of an idea of what the text says and how easy it is to read just by the way that it is laid out. Now, if you think about the way a newspaper is laid out, or a good web page that you enjoy reading, try and emulate some of these things in your own web content. Don't have paragraphs that are huge without breaks in them. Make sure you bold things. You have your links to other items with great anchor text. You have subheadings. Have some images as well, and make sure those images are named correctly with keywords and are also linked to other exciting things on your website, so they can be linking through to other things that people will look at. When your content is really good quality, it's very hard for Google or one of the search engines not to prioritize your websites in search results. And the reason for that is because they want to give their users the best possible experience. And that's the way you've got to think about it. So as you build your website, or as you go through and modify your website, sometimes it can be tempting to try and take the shortcut and be a little bit lazy. But I want you to think about it like your own virtual store, because that's what it is. And if you were doing a fit out in a shop, in a shopping center, you'd probably spend $100,000 or $150,000 doing a really nice fit out. So make sure you are prepared to invest in your website, because it is your online store and it is what is going to help people decide whether or not they buy from you, but it's also going to be what decides whether or not the search engines are going to prioritize your website when people are looking for your product or service. Now, tip number 7 is to make sure that you have SEO friendly images. Now, I did touch on images in the last point, but I just want to reiterate with images, there's a few things that I see people doing that are huge mistakes that are really affecting the way their website performs. Now, if you did the website grader, a particular tool, if you use that tool that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, then it will tell you whether or not you've got images that are too large. Now, what's wrong with having high resolution, large images? Well, there's no need to on the internet. First of all, most people's screens, well, these days it's changing because of 4K screens and HD screens, but still to this day, you don't really need anything more than 144 dots per inch is the standard. 72 dots per inch will typically do the job, but I still see people doing very high print-worthy images on their website. Now, the problem with this is it just is a bigger file that takes longer to load, and it's unnecessary. The next thing to think about is the image size. If the image is too big, once again, it takes too long to load. And what they've learnt, these search engines, is if it takes too long to load, people don't enjoy that experience. And they know this because people don't stick around and they go and click on other websites. So if you want your images to be SEO friendly, make sure that you have them so they're not great big high definition files, and make them so that they are a reasonable size so that they load very, very fast. And I'm talking about the file size. Now, the best way to reduce the file size is to reduce the actual size of the image, thinking that most images don't need to be more than probably 600 pixels on their longest edge for a blog post or a website, unless you're selling something with a high amount of detail. And even then, you can have it so clicking on the image may enlarge it, or you can even have a little instruction there that says, click on this image here, or click on this link if you want a high resolution downloadable image of this product or whatever it might be. So you can make it really easy for customers if they do need a much higher definition image, then you're able to be able to provide that. But really important. So there's my 7 tips. SEO is super important, and I know it can be a bit confusing as a business owner, but I want you to think about, when was the last time you spent any time tidying up your shop online? Because that's really what it is. You wouldn't let your office get messy. You wouldn't let your shop get really messy or uncared for, or unkept. Don't let your website be the unkept, messy shop that nobody wants to buy from, because then not only will you be turning your customers off, but you're going to turn search engines off, and they're not going to show your website up when people are looking for your product or service. All right, well, if you've enjoyed the video, give it the thumbs up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next one.